Oh. Hey everyone, we're back, and I can confirm that it is definitely on Twitch's end. OBS's upload to Twitch straight up crashed out. I was streaming at full resolution on YouTube completely fine. There is nothing I can do about that. Absolutely nothing. I'm speaking truth to power here in my frustration, and they're trying to keep me down. Caboose, do you think they can keep you down? No. Pat, Amazon fired 14,000 people. We've been having this bullshit for the whole year. What do you think? I think they fired engineers that made sure that AWS service, didn't go down. So, cool. I'm multi-streaming on YouTube, so if Twitch just completely fucking falls apart, let's continue thanking people, huh? Spanish Americana kicked in a sub. Hey Pat, how are you? 2 questions. Who are you more excited to play in RE7, Grace or Leon? Also, where can I find your Witcher 3 playthrough? He means RE9. Probably Leon. Sorry. Wingin' 7 kicked in $5. Says, good eye, Pat. This might be the last message you see from me. Australia has included Twitch in the social media ban come January. I ain't giving Amazon my ID. So I'm really torn about the social media ban in Australia. I don't think you should have to fucking give Amazon your fucking ID. I think the government should be doing that. Second of all, I totally agree with banning social media for 16-year-olds and under. Like, the kids are fucked up. The kids are fucked up. Like, we have a big TV in the living room, right? And it's connected to the internet. You know what? That's the internet you'll be using, little baby Pat Jr. You know, the one that everyone in the family can fucking see? Like, when my kid's like 4, 5, 6, 7, you can totally play a bunch of video games with your mom or with your dad. You can totally play online video games when I'm home. You know? Right? Come on. STF Not Guilty says, Pat, I've had a question. We were streaming a game called Nightmare Reaper. It was a retro boomer shooter that took a turn and revealing the main character was in a hospital and hallucinating. Remember you stopping cold for a minute, then quitting the game and declaring the game wasn't for you. What was up with that? Oh, I just didn't like the way it fucking played. It wasn't like, oh, this content's what, it was like, I just didn't like it, the way it felt or looked. That's it. If I quit a game suddenly with no explanation, it's because I didn't like the way like the jump or the movement felt or some shit like that. Siel, that is a question for DMs. Let's see. Witcher 3 playthrough. Man, I wish I was popular enough on the internet to get away with a Witcher 3 playthrough. I was barely popular enough to get away with a Witcher 1 playthrough. But I'm not. I'm not. Anon kicked in at $5. Pat, I literally just bought E33. Should I refund it? I'm asking because I'm an indecisive bitch coward. I think you've already bought it. And the problem with Expedition 33, genuinely, it's like the best game in like 10 years. Like, it's so good that if they like shot a person in the office and ground them up to make the discs, I'd be like, pirate it. You know, like like that's like no game could have normalized just a little petit peu of AI use like Expedition 33. Like, absolutely couldn't have been a more perfect game for a little bit of petit AI un peu. Like, is it so over? Like, so over it's not even funny? No. So my expectation is that the Gen AI use that we're seeing is riding high because it's acting as the largest loss leader project that's ever been in the history of the world. And that once investment runs out and people actually have to pay for this, it will be so outrageously cost prohibitive that it will go back to being used for fringe academic use cases like it's supposed to be. What about local AI models? You mean like train it on your own stuff? That's fine. No, I don't think anybody has a problem with that. Like, that's the intended use case of the fucking shit. The problem is the stealing and the environment stuff. So, Alsa Torax says just like isn't saying Expedition 33 gets to get away with it is the main problem. The problem is that it did. It totally did. We just watched the Independent Game Awards say thank you everybody for staying away from AI, hand the fucking Game of the Year award to E33. Like, it totally got away with it. Like 100%. Those awards aren't getting unwon and given out to different people. There's a box art version of E33 coming out that says most game awards in human history on it. And guess what? Guillaume Petit Peu, le man, le normal gars at the store. He said, oh wow, the game of the year, I buy it in français, oh la la. And that's it. That's it. That's the entire research process. Can we go back to hating the French now? No. We can't. I can, because I never stopped. Parce que mon nom est Patrick Boivin. C'est ma droit. Okay? But not for you. Oh, yeah, filthy animal, you're British. If you stopped hating the French, you would just turn into beans on toast or some shit. Does that mean you hate yourself since you're French? Yes! That's why they smoke so much. It's a low-grade self-destructive ennui. Don't you get it? Anyway, you wouldn't get it. Tall guy with a hoodie kicked in $5. Thanks, tall guy. At this point, I'm mostly worried the bubble isn't going to pop fast enough, and we're going to be left with a bunch of vestigial AI tools polluting every facet of digital life forever. Hoping the data centers are too expensive to run for that. Guess what? Even if it popped today, that would be happening. So don't worry. Your worry is guaranteed. So you know what's going to happen? You're going to be using Unreal Engine, and you're going to hit the generative AI button, and one of two things is going to happen in 5 years. Either the program will crash because it will pull out to a server that's under so much load it can't handle it, or it will just auto-deduct like $1,000 from your local account. Whatever the enterprise shit does. Freylord Shield kicked in a sub, say, holy moly. Thank you, Freylord. CVP 5127 kicked in a sub. Why are they so scared of revealing they used AI? Least they could do is stop being pussies about it. Well, you see, CVP, people are pussies. And they don't want to get in trouble. That's it. And that Larian's going balls out with their big balls out. And now everyone's like, your balls smell, dude. And they're like, no. See? Ronald McDownload sub. Thanks, Ronald. Aota Corp kicked in a $5. Thanks, Aota Corp. Hot take, AI is just a new marketing for old data analytic techniques with autocorrect slapped on the front, because stupid people think a machine is smart if they can string a full sentence together without shitting itself. So AI is like, the confusion is intentional. The obviously immoral generative AI is being lumped into like literally 25 other completely different and unique technologies to obfuscate its use. Like, it is very intentional. You know what it's like? It's like when you go to the store and you pick up like Breyer's ice cream, it is, I think, and it says ice cream product on it. It doesn't say ice cream because it no longer hits the milk content required for the legal classification of ice cream. Yes, it's frozen dessert or frozen dairy product or whatever the fuck. It's to trick you. Like, American cheese is not cheese. It's literally not even cheese. Just another scam from the Yankees. Steb the V kicked in a sub. Fun fact, Claire Redfield was born in 1979. Her last chronological game she starred in was Rev 2, which took place in 2011, and she was rarely seen in the series onward. You'd say by the time she reached 33 that they made Claire obscure. Boo. Boo. Drew Bastan kicked in a sub. Please, Satan, spare new blood from the use of bullshittery. Oh, Day. Oh, man. The man who came into my show to make fun of me for using the controller support he put into a game he was publishing is not going to use AI. You know why? Because you couldn't use fucking generative AI making Hexen 2. That seems to be the design ethos over at fucking New Blood. Could the guys making Doom 64 use it? I don't know about that. Okay, Blue Wizard. What do you mean don't tease you with a Hexen 2 or Heretic 2? Those games exist. Oh, man. Bro, Heretic 2 isn't very good. I don't like it. 42 NFL kicked in 5 bits. Thanks, man. I'll just say pick your battles as it comes. I guess that's where I'm at. I guess that's where I'm at. I got... What the... I need to show you guys something. I just got a text message from my wife, right? And I'm trying to get to my pants pocket to get to my phone, right? But because of my fucking shirt being too long, I just keep going like this to get at my fucking... I'm like, what? Why can't I get my fucking... what the hell? I gotta reach down into my fucking pussy and pull the shirt up to get my phone. And the light's on. One second. Don't say my Patusi pocket. No. Let's see. So 42 NFL goes on. Do they use AI just to help master the audio? Meh, fine. Maybe a touch-up for an asset, placeholders, etc. Do they use AI to replace voice acting, translation, writing, and art? That's an easy line to see. I have a strong suspicion that if Larian didn't tell us, we'd be like halfway through the fucking game before we found out. And New Millennium will have beaten it twice. Maybe 3 times. So Tetsusa, play Mario 1 through World. It'll totally sell. Oh man, those games are harder than you think. Great Scanardo kicked in a sub to say website.com. Thank you. 42 NFL kicked in 500 bits. What's my current definition of an indie game? Before it used to be like a doujin, something self-published without a publisher. Now it could be nebulous. Is it budget? I don't know. I think it should be budget / team size. However, I don't think there is a single definition of indie game that would have disqualified E33. Like, I think there should be an upper limit on money, and there should be an upper limit on team size. And I think that Hades 2 definitely cost more money to make than Expedition 33. And I know for a fact that Team Cherry had more resources making Silk Song. Because Team Cherry's sitting on like at least $60 million. Like just sitting on it. Right? I think it's absolutely nuts that people were like E33 should be disqualified because the director's dad is rich, when like Team Cherry's rich. Team Cherry themselves is crazy fucking rich. Like crazy rich. Like solid gold toilet rich. Saint Dempsey sub. Thank you. Caleb Hates Games kicked in a sub. I love giving money to my ethical streamer. Maybe I'm a serial killer. Nah, it seems hard. Seems tough. Papa Jimbo kicked in a sub. Firefox's new CEO wants it to be a modern AI browser. Oh good, more shit for the shit pile. I love how no matter what browser I use, someone shows up to tell me that the browser that I use is actually the shit browser. And then like 2 months later, somebody comes out to be like, oh no, the browser I use is the shit browser. Like, fuck, dude. Thank you again for the raid, Generator Freddy. Thank you. Disco Pumpkin sub, 73 months. I'm down with the sickness. My head feels like it's gonna explode, but at least the Pat stream, keep it real, Patman. Thank you. I try to keep it real over here, guys. I'm trying to keep it real. Do you guys appreciate keeping it real? I don't know. Oh wow, Bricky did put out a 55-minute video about Arc Raiders. I should watch that. Has keeping it real gone wrong for me? Yes. 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 It has. Do you guys want to watch Bricky's video instead of starting Lisa? Because we can just do Lisa tomorrow. Yeah? All right, we'll do that. That seems like a better... I'll make a put. No? Sorry, Dodongo. You got fucked on. All right. Brass Narwhal subbed. Thanks for the streams and stuff like always. I only experienced E33 through you and Woolie's streams, and I still feel heartbroken about the AI shit, especially stacked with the Larian bullshit. Sorry that the world is such a fuck. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let's see. Underwear and Birth kicked in a sub. Howdy, Pat Attack. Been going through the Expo 33 and wondering how long I should explore the world before going back to Lumiere. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. As much as you want. Joshman VGH kicked in $5. Thank you. I feel weird when people say that Gen AI isn't going anywhere. Most people aren't using local systems. The underlying technology is resource intensive and reliant on huge data centers burning through hardware. It is very much on eggshells. Yeah, but think of all the investment, whatever. Ravisa sub. Thank you. So to Yakumo Yomi says, attention, Bajoran workers. Giggity. Thank you. Scrumpo kicked in $10. Thanks, Scrumpo. Hey, Pat, been watching your stuff since the 2010s. Just want to say thanks. I'm a trans indie dev working solo. Your perspective over the years has helped me feel like making games is possible and worthwhile. Cheers. It is absolutely possible. It is probably worthwhile. But also, your own self-expression is definitely just as important as, like, monetary concerns, as long as you can still eat and live. Right? Best of luck, and I hope you find satisfaction in the work itself. You got a day job? Ah, you're good then. Keto gifted us up. Thanks, Keto. Gaped by Gold Dust subbed. Thanks, mans. Shoot Bang EXE kicked us up. Pat, how would you compare KCD 2 to a KCD 1? Playing through 1 and enjoying it with some exception of some of the combat. Combat's significantly better in the second game. The game has a lot of the jank ass edges sanded off. For good. Like for good. Like not like, oh no. Like no, it's a much slicker, better put together game. Cool Mike sub. Got laid off the day before American Thanksgiving and just got a new job, so I can resub again. Welcome back, Cool Mike. I love you. Give me a kiss. I love you. Oh, I scrolled up too fast. Kai9 kicked in $15. Say Pat Testotal's ethics. Thank you, Kai. Goes on to say, here's Oracle of Kai9 for you. I suspect in 2026, some game will be literally 100% AI. It will be popular with normies, but a lot of the benign content creators will complain about it and get caught in your same E33 dissonance then. Probably. I'm probably way ahead of the curve. I don't think a game could actually be 100% AI, but I believe that the voice acting, music, design, etc. could be. You mean all assets? Yeah, the actual guts can't be done. There's no way. But the assets, oh yeah. And it'll be popular with normies. No, wait, no, fuck that. That happened. That literally just happened. It was called Call of Duty Black Ops 7. That actually literally just happened. And it was raked over the coals for it for sucking shit. It did sell badly, yes. Even when people don't know, they can feel that it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Kai goes on to say, as a Korean, oh, you're ballsy. Your balls is huge, Kai. As a Korean, this is a quote from Kai9. I'm not saying this. I'm giving Sugiyama of Dragon Quest fame the pass. He'd use it. He'd use it on you, bud. He denied and funded the denial of war crimes committed against my ancestors, but man, DQ's overture is amazing. I think you could have been braver to have given him the pass when he was like, oh, I don't know, still alive. You did? Oh, well, I didn't know about it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I have a baby. Uh-oh. Are you just a baby? Hazuzu subbed. In retrospect, we should have seen it coming. We should have seen it coming due to that scene where Mael started playing Fortnite with Obama and Trump. I'm coping super hard. It's just a misstanding or not, Jedi. that scene was weird, man, right? Wasn't that fucking weird? Lichkind subs to the Carry Boy. Thank you. Mr. Rocket subbed. I'm not even outside of Act 1, and I've already created a Mael build that deletes bosses. The game's got its claws on me just as the AI shit came out. Oh, well. So here's the thing. The AI shit came out like a month afterwards, and then they cleaned it up, and they did like a little baby oopsie, and we all just assume it wasn't on purpose. And then like a year later, or like 6 months later, in a French magazine, one producer said, oh yeah, we use it. But then in a different interview, Brush was like, no, we would never use it. So here's where E33 lives in the AI debate. I don't fucking know. You fucking figure it out. August kicked in a sub. It's annoying that this industry that I love so much is built on so much shit, but I guess that's life in general. Trying to turn the shit into grass around you. Well, luck, you could. So if you're the type of person who wants to join, to become a fan of like a type of industry or like art form, and video games is too depressing for you because it's all bullshit, might I suggest the music industry or television or film? Video games is growing up. It's growing up. It's a big boy industry now. Oh, or sports. Ooh, you could get into sports. STF not guilty sub. Thank you. So did Silent Line and Sinzoro too. Thank you. Barry Goosey kicked in $5 over on YouTube. This may be insane cope. We're all cope now down here. This may be insane cope, but Larry, you know, that kid died because of cope. Pennywise got that kid because of cope. He thought he was going to get his little boat back. This may be insane cope, but Larian has relied on user feedback for the last 3 games. Maybe they'll backpedal on the AI because of the backlash. Oh, this is the time. This is the time to be super mad and super loud. And when that game comes out in early access, it's time. I shit you not. If you have interest in it and you hate it, you know what? Buy a copy and just give lots of feedback. Lots of feedback. Lots. Video Booty Menace kicked in a sub. Hell yeah, Vivio Games. Thank you. They'll use AI to filter you out. Just use the term unalive and it'll be fine. Revises kicked in 500 bits. Is E33 now unrecommendable to you? Given how blurry about what we know about its AI use, or we know, however big, or in whenever in development it happened, however would you still recommend it knowing just how good it is? Yeah, absolutely. Like, did Liam Neeson, like, troll a bunch of fucking bars looking for a black guy to kill? Yes. Yes, that did happen. Was he still in one of the best movies of all time, Schindler's List? Yes. Yes, he was. What do you want? I can't answer this for you. I will say one thing. I do not think he should have admitted that in an interview. I think that was of help to no one. Ever. It helped me make this analogy, but yeah. Cozy 90, that's hot. Subbed. I appreciate when you keep it real. I also appreciate when you bring out the angriest pet every once in a blue moon. Stay hot as always. Thank you. Kai9 kicked in $5. Okay, here, bottom line of the DQ7. DQ7 is the Forrest Gump of gaming. Bro, I don't know what that means. That could mean 2 really different things. One of which I'm not going to say. And the other which I'm not going to say either. Jeffrey Qua kicked in some money over on YouTube. How do we feel about Naughty Dog making a documentary about how crunch equals bad and how they're going to stop, only for Bloomberg to report that they're crunching again? Yeah, I mean, everyone who involved in management at Naughty Dog sucks at their fucking job, and they're a piece of shit. Every single person who works at Naughty Dog in a management role is fucking bad at their job. It's crazy. Dapper Cactar kicked in a sub. Got back into Warframe after a break when the new old peace update dropped. Been fun so far. I can also see the team avoiding Gen AI like the plague did. How much they enjoy their work. Oh, I wouldn't worry about Warframe. I know Reb. Reb's cool. Also, Warframe's cool with just shipping like fucked up unfinished shit. Like Warframe will be like, should we use Gen AI to clean this up? Nah, fuck it. Fuck it. Leave it fucked up. Maybe they'll like it. Claw kicked in a sub. What happened with E33? Do we hate it now? No, I don't think it's possible for me to hate it. There's some back and forth about generative AI use at some point early in the project that is very gray, and the specifics are unknown. So you kind of have to make up your own mind based off of very little information. And Don't Call Me Steve kicked in a sub. Says shiny hunting in ZA DLC right now. Shit's great. I'm glad. Is ZA the Pokemon game that has you fight a boss in an unfinished basement that is unbelievable and you can't believe they shipped it like that? Is that game? Yes? Cool. 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 I should play that one? I don't want to. I don't want to. So what are you going to do about it? All right, let's go watch Bricky's video, huh? Oh, Pooh's Trail Snail Cooch kicked in a sub. Says, I'm back. Hi. Hey, man. What's up? Always a terrible name. Always. Just god awful. Just one of the worst ever. But hey, cool guy. Cool guy. All right. So we are going to be moving over to, hold on. Bricky talking about Arc Raiders. And we're going to put that on just chatting. And we will start, Lisa, tomorrow. We're going to slop on Bricky. We're going to slop that Bricky. You know what I'm talking about. Man, he does good work. I'm glad he's branching all the way out on that what he calls it, what do you call it, war hammer, branching off of the Warhammer. That's right. All right. I'm just moving stuff around. So luckily, we have this really good video that Bricky made that I can now take my opinion about Arc Raiders from Bricky. I can say that I got my opinion from this particular YouTuber. I'm a big fan of doing that, as you all know. If I don't have an opinion of myself to give you as a YouTuber, I can always go find somebody else's. As always, big ups to Mr. Bricky for allowing us to watch his video. I could check with him, but he's cool with it. He's good about it. Oh, there's no fucking sound. Maybe I should fucking put sound on it, huh? Maybe, I don't know. Fuck it.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe in this thing. Just play the
Bricky's also got a hot mustache.
So, Arc Raiders, it is the brand new extraction shooter made by Embark Studios, and it has taken players by storm. Extraction shooters are not as popular as the Battle Royale world was about 5 years ago, but it is the new big thing. And with the exception of Tarkov and Hunt,
oh, he's got a little gray in there.
Footing in the general gaming market. Now, Arc Raiders appears to be changing that. With
bro, that is an air conditioning tube.
280,000 players on Steam alone, and an all-time peak of almost 500,000. And
wow, Twitch is really shitting its ass today, huh?
Of audiences that normally don't cross-pollinate with the extraction shooter genre. Originally, I wasn't going to review Arc Raiders because I am one of those who didn't see the extraction shooter genre as something I'd be interested in, and I also just didn't want to download Tarkov. Something about it.
It's a little quiet? Okay.
Me. Arc Raiders has not frightened me, or at least not from playing the game.
How's that?
It has certainly scared me at times.
Wait, Bricky's been streaming Arc Raiders? That's like 3 streaming people I respect that play Arc Raiders. The only thing Marathon's gonna kill is Bungie's future prospects, deadass now. Oh, 4 actually. Hey, Bubba.
Oh my god. There's a lot to talk about this game.
Oh, max play? Okay, so it's literally just me.
So
it's just me.
let's
I'm the only
pop
person in
out
the
a
fucking
flavored
world.
toothpick to lock in and get all Speranza
I'm the only person in the
bonanza
world
today. Speaking of
who
which,
didn't stream Arc
this
Raiders.
is a flavored toothpick.
Yo!
Mint, in fact.
Bricky
And from
sent
a
us some
company
of these.
called
They're
Natura
awesome.
Pine. I am actually the co-owner.
Paige loves
of
these
Natura Pine.
things.
And I cannot stress this enough. In this year, the sheer volume of things going on at once is so overstimulated.
Wooly has it?
People used to think that fidgets and oral
Wooly
fixations
can't
were
stream
only for
Arc
people with
Raiders
autism or ADHD,
until
but those
it's
days
like
are long
35 years
past.
old.
This little flavored piece of wood was my Squidward with the Krabby Patty moment. I have been tossing these out to everyone I meet, and I get unanimous positive
A lot of VTubers
feedback.
on there, bro.
I feel like every gathering I go to, I'm the adult version of the middle schooler with the pack of 5 gum. The moment I bust it out, heads turn my way. I co-own this company because I believe this heavily in the product. It's flavored toothpicks.
Yeah, Paige loves
that's
this
it,
stuff.
I know, but just having that when you
There's
game,
only
when you
there's
drive,
only
when you're at
one
work,
thing
it's just something you never
about
realize you needed
Bricky's
until you
toothpicks
try it.
that
It doesn't matter
gets like
what
kind
you
of
do,
like a
whether it's
weird
white-collar
like
desk job
emotional
or a
response,
blue-collar trade,
which
there's
is like a
place
warning
for
on it
these.
that like don't chew the
Currently, there are
toothpicks
5
while you're
flavors
pregnant.
available in mint,
And you're like,
cinnamon,
huh.
watermelon, peach, and coffee.
What?
And more on the
Why?
way this year.
And it doesn't
They come in packs of
elaborate.
18, 40, and 100. And there are many bundles available on the site to save money, or you can also use code
Luckily,
Bricky
I'm not
for,
pregnant.
While normally 10% off, it will be 20% off.
It's probably some
this
California fucking
first
law.
week from the launch of this video. You can scan the QR code on screen and you can go ahead and get that double discount for the next week because I just need you to try it. I don't think you truly
I'm gonna squish
understand
this
the
dog.
impact a small fidget oral fixation of a flavored
You think this dog
toothpick
is the cutest
can
dog
do
or the ugliest
until you
dog?
actually have some in your hand. So
I'll only
please
take yes, no
understand that I do not put my name, I do not co-found things like this willy willy-nilly, and I really want you to give it a shot. Go ahead and scan the QR code or
Caboose.
check out the link in the description. Use code Bricky for 20% off this first week and 10% off going forward after that. Try out the new
Caboose.
flavors, try out some
Oh my
bundles,
goodness.
and give
Oh my
it a
goodness,
genuine
Caboose.
shot.
Oh my
It
goodness.
means more to me than you'd expect. Anyway, let's do a little company lore discussion. Embark Studios was founded in November of 2018 by the following people. And I'm sorry, I will be butchering your names. Magnus Nordum, Rob Runensim, Steven Strandberg, Patrick Soderlund, Jenny
Patrick Soderlund?
Hultschiner, and Johan Andersson.
Really?
They run Embark out of an old bank in Stockholm, Sweden, and it looks genuinely gorgeous. Patrick Soderlund, in particular, was the former executive vice president of EA's Worldwide Studios and former CEO of DICE. DICE, of course, is the development company known for making Battlefield. A major point of the foundation and research of Embark Studios is a heavy interest in all aspects of AI. Magnus Nordum is, in particular, very interested in AI, as he is the head of research for the company and finding ways for it to be utilized in their various games. The studio's debut game, The Finals, was a team-based objective shooter with a massive emphasis on destruction. I played the game a decent amount and was particularly impressed with the smoothness of the gunplay, the optimization as well, despite the insane destruction, and the visuals coming from a studio's debut title. Now, the game still continues to have a dedicated player base, though hasn't quite found an extreme mainstream audience, mainly due to how competitive the game's nature is. The Finals has also faced criticism on its announcers, as the voices used for the shoutcasting of the in-game matches are done utilizing AI text-to-speech as opposed to standard recorded lines. A few examples of this would be...
Welcome to Fortune Stadium! It's showtime!
Now, that is something we will talk plenty more about later, but the Finals maintains between 10 to 15,000 players a day on Steam and continues to get regular updates and content in its development cycle. The studio's second game, Arc Raiders, began development in 2018 during the foundation of Embark and has been released on October 30th, 2025. Prior to this, there were multiple betas and playtests that saw the game's popularity begin soaring through word of mouth and viral clips. This also came at the same time Bungie's Marathon was beginning their beta and receiving the exact opposite effect. Arc Raiders is an extraction shooter along the lines of games like Tarkov and Hunt Showdown. The gameplay loop is relatively straightforward. You spawn into one of a few maps with varying difficulties, environments, and loot options. You gather whatever you can on the map, and then when your pockets are full, you go back underground to your home base of Speranza and use that gear you collected to craft better weapons, items, and use them for other objectives. The lore they have set up for the game is very simple, but a bit interesting. The world was ravaged by some kind of environmental collapse. Earthquakes, floods, fire, tornadoes, hand of God, all that stuff. A few of the extremely wealthy and lucky ended up leaving Earth in something known as the Exodus. A bit after, when Earth calmed down and humans started coming to the surface again, a wave of intelligent robots known as ARCs arrived and started reenacting the opening of RoboCop. These ARCs have come in two waves and are becoming increasingly hostile to humans over time. While I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, there is absolutely a story thread being built here that the people who left want to come back to Earth now, and they're using ARCs to clear out the undesirables on the planet, but that's mostly just theory. Most of the game's lore is unknown, and I imagine it'll be fleshed out more with time. In the Italian Rust Belt section of the game, you will also encounter other players, and I hesitate to say enemy players because whether or not they are enemies remains to be seen until you interact with them. Of course, the main goal of an extraction shooter is to extract with your stuff, because if you die either to ARC or to the hands of a fellow, you lose everything on your person. This loop is what makes extraction shooters so intense and often for a very niche audience. It takes a particular sicko to go into a game and bear the stress of losing everything you bring in, only to then run back in and do it again. The adrenaline high of finding some of the best loot in the game and then waiting for extraction while killer robots and nefarious players look to collect it off your corpse is the entire point of the whole game's draw. What differentiates Arc Raiders from its competitors is the simple and easy fact that it's made for people who are employed. The game, while still very punishing in its nature, is made for an audience that can engage in its systems on every possible level. This is something that I think is massively overlooked when it comes to the game and its praise. There There is no kind of play style that is not acceptable in this game. The actual movement and looting system of Arc Raiders is intentionally sluggish.
Man,
not in the way where it feels
Bungie
bad to
could have
play,
had
quite
a
the
free
opposite,
pass
but in a way where
on Marathon
realistic movement and speeds is
over like
the point.
all
This
human
is not a
made,
battle royale,
and
where
like now
when
they're
you
like all
find
human
something
made,
or
and also
someone to
some
loot,
humans that
you move in
didn't
a
want to make it
Ritalin-infused
because we
haze,
stole
armor
it.
swapping and weapon switching, causing an epileptic fit for you and the people spectating you. No. Looting in Arc Raiders is done by a slow reveal of the individual items on the person. Looting in battle is often not an option, as you'll see barely an item or two before you are shot again. This translates to the weapons and movement as well. Your character feels like they're heavy. They have a stamina bar that is restrictive in the right way, where any expenditure needs to be thought out, or else you risk being stuck with nothing. I think this is the only shooter game where I have genuinely been incentivized to take stamina buffs or items that help me with that, as opposed to more healing. I would never look at the adrenaline shot as a useful item in any other game, but in this one, I take them almost every time. The swapping of
Yeah, I heard
weapons
Joe
takes
Cross
time.
is
The
no
ability
longer
to
at
chase
Bungie.
down
They're gonna
people
blame
is
him
a
for
resource in
everything.
itself. And any
They're gonna
kind
blame
of
him for
ridiculous
everything.
Call of Duty movement tech is mostly absent unless you want to blow your whole stamina bar. The entire game is moving at a pace far slower than most other shooters, both first person and third person, and it's to the game's benefit. If you are a shooter player, say you live and die FPS, there is something for you here. Being good at aiming is really important. Raiders don't die insanely fast, but they still get down quickly enough where well-placed headshots and character tracking will give you a major edge in gunfights. If you're not a huge FPS player, that's also fine. Equipment is actually far more powerful than you'd expect, with grenades, mines, and so on. I've seen people who are terrible at shooter games absolutely wall up
I feel like
enemy
this whole
players 'cause they set up
article
a
just
booby-trapped
builds. Sorry, this
door
whole video
that
is just
other
going to build
raiders were
up
just
to
not
a
prepared for.
bot.
I mean, hell, even certain arcs that you destroy will drop cores that can be used for combat. A favorite of mine is the Snitch that normally.
So Tetsu, he
summons
has to
more
review the
arcs and don't
game
kill it fast
before
enough, but it actually took me a good
talking
while to
about it
realize
because it's
I can
the
throw
whole
the
purpose
core you get
of
from
these
the
discussions
Snitch, and wherever you
is
throw
about
it summons
the
arcs in
effect
that area, which is really funny
of this
to chuck
shit
on an opponent's
on
head,
an otherwise
much to their dismay.
whatever
But if you don't
game.
really enjoy the PvP aspect of the game and you're just there to shoot and loot, there is also a method available
To
you.
pretend
Killing
that
arcs
anything
is
using
a
this
major
stuff
part
is
of
like,
the
well,
game's
it's just a bad
progression, and
game,
being able
is
to
like
take them down
part
either
of the
in a
problem,
solo
because then
or
people
a
play something
squad
like
is in
E33
itself a
or Arc
strategy.
Raiders and
There
go,
are
well,
people
can't
who
use
will
Gen I
have better
badly
gear,
because
better
it's so
progression,
good.
and better skills, all without firing a single shot at another raider unless they are forced to. This doesn't just translate to the type of player you are.
It's the same
It
kind of
also
thing of like, well,
translates to the
this
amount of
that girl's
players you
beautiful.
have.
She can't
The
be
game is
mean to
normally played in
me.
trios, but if you are interested in running as a duo or a solo, it automatically attempts to put you in groups to match yours. And the more I think about it, actually, it's maybe not even something that is normally ran in trios, just it's advertised as trios quite often. But every single other form of play is valid. See, when you're a trio, you're probably on Discord or something, and you have safety in numbers. So when you're playing with a squad, the PvP is turned to the max, not due to any game system, but just due to human psychology. People will often shoot you on sight in trios, unless there's a specific reason not to, like ganging up on a big arc, for example. Big squads are 90% of the time there to kill anyone and everything. But when duos are taken into account, things become a bit more interesting. There's a quirky mixture of friendly and hostile activity with duos where I find it to be a bit more skittish and sometimes conniving. Duos, I found, are more likely to act friendly in the beginning and shoot you in the back as either they or their friend convinces them of evil. I've also found a ton of shoot on sight players and a ton of the most friendly ones in duos, so it just feels like it depends on the day. Solos are a fascinating experience. For the most part, if you want to play PvE, you play alone. And when you run solo, especially in the lower difficulty maps, you will find that people will just run right by you, completely uncaring if they get shot at or not. There's this strange feeling that PvP is just turned off, or they assume there's no reason for it. VoIP is used a lot in solos, as talking and working with other raiders is commonplace. In fact, if you actually meet some other raiders in solos, you can find that they're really chill and quite sweet people.
There's this, you see this dome over here in the red area?
Yeah.
This close one is a really good one.
Is he gonna get shot,
usually
dude?
there's like suitcases in this far corner.
I feel like he's gonna get
and,
shot.
Sometimes there's like gun boxes too.
Nice. There's plenty of components left in there. By
My
the way.
gut is telling me
do
he's about to
want
get
to-
shot.
The main thing I want to get are those goddamn lemons and apricots. Though, oh, that's
I got those.
that's a bastion out there though.
Oh yeah, good call.
Yeah, and I'm less
So-
I'm less of a fan of that one.
Okay, no worries. So I've actually gotten the apricots and the lemons.
How I can't find.
should
it
shoot
for
them
the life of
first.
me.
I have one lemon.
Oh man,
So the place where I found the apricots was in the
my brain's not good
spaceport.
for this.
One thing that I find interesting as well is player dynamics and unwritten rules. See, Arc Raiders doesn't have any kind of handshake agreement. We are now going to PvP. It just is. And because of that, it can encourage very nefarious behavior or cooperation. Arcs are very rarely killed solo when it comes to the big ones, and so you often need friends. And having friends is a really useful way to just, not die. But if you want to choose evil, if you want to camp and put mines down on some kind of extraction area, or if you want to befriend someone and shoot them in the back, there is no system telling you you can't do that, except for people getting mad at you online. But I have to say, I prefer that. I think you should have spawn campers. I think you should have betrayals. I think the reason why the game is made the way it is because it's supposed to be the Wild West. Not everyone is going to have the highest gear because they were saints. You have to have villains in your story too. And while, yeah, I would be immensely pissed off that I would get spawn camped or something and killed at the end, I still believe that it's important to have that be a thing. I also realized this other light is not plugged in.
Technical difficulties, bruh.
Now, the reason I called Arc Raiders an extraction shooter for employed people is because unlike so many others, it's not designed only for sicko freaks who enjoy the high of Tarkov. The games don't last too long, only about 30 minutes each time, and you'll likely be out in about 10 to 20 anyway. The loot is relatively forgiving, especially with special safe pockets that you can get to take home things even if you are killed. So finding the specific item you really badly need and putting it there is very handy for reducing tension. In fact, sometimes the game just feels downright peaceful. When you're walking around various places and listening to the game's background and foliage with random gunshots in the distance, it kind of just lets you walk around and enjoy yourself and see the scenery. Everyone is going about their business, and while there will always be a bit of tension, you can just chat with your friends and find great opportunities to chill before shit hits the fan. If there is really anything I can praise the most, it's the game's loop and pacing. I cannot stress how incredible the game's pacing is. There is a science to this that players don't notice when it's good, but will despise it if it's bad. It's sort of like editing in a TV show or a film. Back in 2007, there actually was a really famous interview with Jamie Griesemer about the 30 seconds of fun in the original Halo games.
I remember
To
that.
quote the article, the idea was to have Halo repeatedly immerse players in hectic battles that would last for half a minute, just long enough to create heart-pumping chaos and the risk of death before offering a respite. Meanwhile, each level would also include scripted cinematics and scenes to push the story forward. It was a subtle but deeply pleasing balance.
I really wish
Halo neither bored people with
I'd
overly
played
long
that
storytelling
playtest
animations, nor numbed
before
them with
someone told
pointless
me
fights.
this had
Now,
AI voice
hysterically,
acting.
James came back in a future interview in 2011 and remarked on how he was happy the idea was getting traction, but it was being used incorrectly. The concept that Halo had the 30 seconds and that was to be repeated over and over again was what was happening, yes, but in reality, it was about having the ebb and flow of different kinds of fun in those 30 seconds. Halo specifically does this by using that time frame to give you combat with weapons that will
FF14
only
MSQ should
last
learn from
for so
Halo. That's
long
gonna be
before
tough.
Swapping to new weapons against new enemies. Then they give you a little bit of calm before the storm and swap it up again with new stuff. Some vehicle sections, indoor fighting, outdoor fighting, different kind of scenarios, Jackal Sniper Alley, the worst thing ever made, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I remember that
Gameplay
fucking
breakup
thing.
is a huge part about what makes the base Halo game so incredible. Now, Arc Raiders has a very good pacing style similar to this, it's just blown up and at a longer scale. I'd say that the 30 seconds mantra is still on display with the actual combat of the game. Most genuine firefights will rarely last that long, and this includes going back and forth with the arcs. Loading into the Rust Belt has the slow time of looting, then the frantic excitement of combat, then back to looting. What I think works really well with this title is that since this gunplay contains such an immense amount of stress to it, you need longer to bring yourself back to baseline. So the time between fights is longer due to the adrenaline of the fighting itself. This then spikes your adrenaline again when you exfil, because obviously looting is a relaxed downtime section of the flow, but there's a 90% chance you will be looting before you fill up and get ready for exfil. But exfil is both A, loud, and B, slow. So the heart rate will always rise a little bit when you get to the exit, because this is the last chance something could go wrong before you're able to escape. But once you do escape, you are of course brought back to the main menu, which allows you to rest, reload, and come back again. Again, pacing is something that is rarely noticed when it's good, but horrendous when it is not. And for Arc Raiders, I consider it masterclass. Now, when you're back at base, you get to see another very well-made aspect of the game, which is its art direction. There's a lot of different ways to describe it. You could call it NASA punk, you can call it cassette futurism, etc. But regardless of what you would describe it as, it's all very well done.
Deadass and I
Visuals
do
are
remember
very
how
good,
nothing ever
and the
went wrong
outfits
in a
for the
marathon
characters
extraction.
also
It was
have a
fucking
really great
ridiculous.
design to them all. Fighter pilot, beekeeper, Big Daddy, Katia stands, the imposter is sus. They all have a really good design to them. This also translates to the soundtrack, which has the perfect beats when they need to hit. And don't even get me started on the UI. In this world with these terrible Netflix-style UIs on the main menu with other shooter games like COD and Battlefield, it just feels so good to have a couple of bars, and that's it. It doesn't need to say a ton, it just looks stellar. I would also be remiss to not talk about the sound design of the game. The entirety of the game,
here's
from top to bottom, sounds great. I mean, phenomenal. Arcs sound terrifying. The weapons have meat and punch to them. The movement and looting feels realistic as well. It's amazing to just immerse yourself in the world and its plethora of effects. Individual clips of the game can never fully show it, but they do a good job.
Bro, why they gotta make this complicated? Why they gotta Avril Lavigne this stuff?
Now, it might appear that all I'm doing is glazing Arc Raiders this entire time, which isn't entirely incorrect. The game is great. Almost every aspect of it is great. The gameplay is good. The visuals are good. Its optimization is surprisingly good. The looting system is good. The music is good. Everything is great about it, except for three main things that are either not so good or I'm just a bit uncertain about. The first is the price. I struggle discussing price in games because, well, it's just really difficult. It's relative to the individual, and it has to take into account localized pricing, inflation, general economic situation, and it's just a hard time to understand that kind of stuff. I just have a hard time doing it. Now, the game is $40 at its base, and it contains a battle pass style system as well as outfit microtransactions. Now, my brain tells me that's too much. There's little warning signs going, wee woo, that's too much. That having a premium upfront cost with all
He
that
also
added
does
on is
it
a bad
wee-woo?
move and overcharge. But Helldivers did the same thing, and look where they're at. And I also don't think the game should be free either. So I'm at a bit of an impasse on price. I think its business model would maybe work if it was free, but I can't imagine the volume of hackers the game would have if it was free to play. And the quality of the game on display here, I think, does fetch a premium price. So, The second thing is the general game balance and end game goals. The reason I'm uncertain about this is because I just genuinely don't know what to think about it as a whole, and I'm not good enough of a player or high enough level to determine whether it'll be a major problem that is facing the game and will need to be fixed. The main method of carryover for your raiders is finishing an expedition, and there aren't a ton of permanent buffs on display, mostly just for the next wipe. It's rather small, and if we as players are going to be putting that much effort into something like this, I feel like there should be more reward for it. I mean, every skill point that you get starting in a new wipe is for every 1 million credits you have to a max of 5. So if you get 5 million credits, it means the next wipe and only the next wipe, you'll have 5 skill points, which just does not feel like a good trade. Balance-wise, no idea. All I know is that I really enjoyed the beginning of the game when everyone had a kettle and a pharaoh. That was really fun. Sometimes I get slammed by other stuff, but for the most part, I can't quite tell. I'm not a balanced Andy when it comes to this stuff. And lastly, the only real complaint I have with the game's nuts and bolts quality is the voice acting. The voices in the game are passable for the raider, just generally uninteresting, but also a bit inoffensive at the same time.
I feel like we're gonna
Of
hit a
all the
record
traders in
scratch.
Speranza,
'Cause
they're
there's
just all a bit
30 minutes
weird
left.
sounding. They have this very uncanny nature to them all, and especially when they talk to you at the start of the mission, they sound quite contrary to what they're saying.
Just a gentle reminder to keep an eye out for those salvage sites for Tien Wen. It may be just what we need to get her to pull her weight.
You know, with that example in specific, it just sounds like they should have like more of an annoyed tone, you know? Like, hey, somebody else isn't pulling their weight, but their inflection is just off. This is just an example I have on hand, but maybe a compilation would do better justice.
Have your eyes adjusted to the dark yet, Raider? Loot is ripe for the picking while most of Toledo is asleep, though my suppliers say that Ark is twice as vigilant after sunset. Shani here. Keep your eyes peeled, Raider. We have field depots scattered all around topside. You're looking for makeshift structures with blue tarps and an antenna on top. Shani here. Raider, the leaking hatches should be marked on your map. We need them now more than ever, so patch one up before it breaks down all the way.
So, if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. We discussed before that the finals utilize an AI-generated text-to-speech system for its dialogue, and the same thing has been implemented into Arc Raiders. This has caused a lot of debate about the game, and where those opinions are coming from do factor into it. Because let me be honest, the people who watch this video that are more inclined to think like you and me pay more attention to this stuff than the average Arc Raiders player by a long shot. There's also just a breaking down of opinions depending on game's quality. It's easy to shout AI slop at something like Black Ops 7 because it was, but Arc Raiders is good, excellent even, and I feel that might be lessening people's opinions on it. They're more inclined to give it a pass because it's good. There's justifications and softenings of opinions because gray areas are very scary nowadays. And the thing about this game is that its relationship with AI is far deeper than it might seem and far more complex. This is not just a conversation about voice acting. This is a conversation about the implementation as a whole, and it gets very convoluted and fast. The best way to really figure it out is to go into Embark Studios as a whole and their mantras surrounding it. Now, I think it's really important to outline why people, myself included, have issues with the use of generative artificial intelligence. For some of you watching, you may have assumed this was just a funny Arc Raiders review and you weren't going to get roped into this. Well, hey, tough shit, leaper upon you.
Man, Bricky's so much smarter and better at this than I am.
Firstly, a not so quick definition of that. AI is the buzzword term to describe all approaches that make a machine smart. As a buzzword, it has mostly been synonymous with generative AI, but it really does encompass a broad category, and generative AI would be argued as a subset. The best way to explain this in a simple sense is the evolution of a chess bot. In the early era
I look
of chess
healed.
bots,
Well,
like
Bricky's
the one
like
that faced Kasparov, named Deep
doing
Thought,
all my
it
thinking
was an
for me, so
artificial
I appreciate
intelligence
it.
that functioned off of rules that were put into it. To play
Oh,
the game,
no!
the bot would analyze the board, the placement of the pieces, and make a statistics-based judgment call off of the rules interpreted into it. That was an AI, but it was not machine learning, nor was it truly generative. Though it beat another grandmaster.
I just
Kasparov
offloaded
beat
my
Deep Thought
thinking
quite
to
easily 2 times
Bricky
in a row.
instead.
A machine learning AI is a version of this chess bot that experiences a set of games and scenarios that are directly presented to it, and then it adapts to suit the style. A non-machine learning
I trust
AI
Bricky more.
would not necessarily learn Kasparov's moves in real time because it wasn't learning as it was playing, whereas a machine learning one would be learning and adapting while playing. The generative AI version of this would be asking the AI to generate a series of chess moves that might be good to use, or even cool names for your own unique chess moves. To accomplish this, it pulls from a
You offload your
considerable
thinking
amount
to
of
me? Oh
relevant
no,
data,
Resident Ryan
creates
Place.
an
Don't do
answer,
that.
and provides it.
Don't
Be
do
it
that.
a
Oh,
move
no.
or a name, it's provided in a
Tiny
static
hat on
sense,
girl.
not really adaptive. Generative AI is more creative, where machine learning is more diagnostic.
Tiny
and
hat on girl, make big
predictive.
penis.
All machine learning is AI, but not all AI is machine learning. But in the end, both generative AI and machine learning complement one another, and development is encouraging this more and more. Ultimately, there is a big effort to make them work in tandem.
Is that
so
robot
it can
pissing
be
on
a
the
bit
floor
more
like a
self-sufficient.
dog?
Now, as a reminder, Generative artificial intelligence is something that creates new original content like text, images, music, and more via the use of existing data and content from other databases. In layman's terms, if I were to take every single piece of medical data in the world and feed it to this machine, I should be able to ask it a question and get back an answer based on that data. If I were to feed it every single movie ever made, I could then ask it to make me a movie, and it would create something based on the things it was fed. Now, on the surface, this doesn't appear like an issue. I too have smashed my Lego models together into some abomination a 9-year-old thinks is awesome as well. But there are two major problems with this. Problem A is that this requires a genuinely massive amount of computing power to be accomplished. AI models are things that are learnt, similar to our brains. Neurons that receive stimulus and relay it to others to get an output. This process happens at a ridiculous scale, however, and that creates immense energy draws for their usage. Now, take that and imagine every single question ChatGPT was asked, and now you realize why RAM has nearly doubled in price. It's the Bitcoin farm GPU problem, just repackaged. Problem B is that the people who run these companies, those that create the tools to allow generation of new content via this AI, aren't getting permission from people whose works they are feeding into the machine. When someone generates artwork of Chun-Li, they aren't getting permission from the thousands of artists who drew Chun-Li and had their work stolen and processed into a learning algorithm for a company to make money on. When the massive influx of embarrassing Pixar movie posters came through, you can be damn sure Pixar wasn't too happy with their stuff being remade this way, and the mouse is very upset. A particularly depressing story is that of Stanley
Whoa,
Lau,
he wrote
or
this a little bit
Archer,
ago.
an extremely prolific
He wrote
artist
this
for
a little
many
bit
comic
ago.
covers and fighting games. Their art in particular was fed through these machines without their consent, and so much of the Gen AI slop was made based off their original works. So much so that if you were to look through their portfolio right now, you'd maybe falsely assume it was AI generated,
Yeah, that's
because
a guy
so
Wooly
much of the
knows. He mentioned
backbone
this on
of
the
these
podcast.
generated pieces came from Stanley Lau's work, to the point where people have falsely proclaimed and accused him of using AI. This isn't just an issue with theft of creative works, however, and this could be considered problem C. One of the major issues with this service is that it is not always correct and has no real way of properly determining where it gets its data from. If ChatGPT tells you that X is correct, you can't call it on its bullshit and tell it that's actually Y. You don't even know where it got X from. This is a problem baked into the system of the program. Essentially, the AI will
that a
pull
Chinese
data
Matrix?
and output it, but then this data is refined. If someone does the Chun-Li prompt and requests refinement of it, the AI will
Japanese?
essentially notate what is or isn't refined if this prompt were to come up again.
Oh,
But
yeah, it really
if the
is.
refinement
What's your
is
source,
wrong
Senator?
or
I
not
made
to
it
the
the fuck
standards of the
up.
distributor, it
Man,
either
Snap
results
Cube.
in it being so
Just killing it.
reinforced that it becomes difficult to unlearn, or it is manually stripped of data, thus undoing the module in the first place. This makes it technically unintelligent. And while being stupid and making mistakes isn't a crime, thank God, it does open it up to being explicitly sabotaged for the owner. There is no better example of this than with Twitter's AI bot, Grok, that Elon Musk has spent precious
That
hours
is
on this
the
planet
best
attempting to
picture he
make
could have
less
chosen.
woke. This is great examples of Grok specifically being kinder to Musk on things instead of rivals or political opponents when the same question is asked. And I cannot make this clearer, state that killing all the children on Earth is a preferable outcome to getting mud on his suit.
Oh, I
There is a
remember-
real tangible
Wooly
fear
was talking about
that
that.
the owners of these models can tweak them. And how can you
Oh, is this the
possibly
interview where
trust
he's
an
like sky
information
high on
source
ketamine?
that can be sabotaged to expressly dispense misinformation that assists its owner politically, fiscally, or both, and you cannot get the citation
That's all of them?
from the
Oh,
system.
okay.
This tech does not make decisions.
Why
it
ketamine?
only makes
What's wrong with good
outputs.
old-fashioned
However,
cocaine?
Because this is the future, all of the
Seriously.
same players from the NFT eras who came from the crypto eras have hopped onto it. An immense amount of funding has been made by investors in what is propping up generative AI systems, and it has had a disastrous effect on the US economy in particular, as well as making every platform that uses it substantially more shit, including this one. That is the main issue with Gen AI at the current moment. But this is 2025 going into 2026.
My stream has
and
crashed
things
once
were
today
different
as a
back
result
then
of this.
For Embark. Now, the EA and DICE guy, Patrick Soderlund, he's very open about his AI usage at Embark Studios and has been for some time. When he left EA in 2018, he was already championing new ways to push video game development as a medium. This was all the way 9 years ago in 2016 when he still was at EA, and he pushed them to join OpenAI only a year after it was founded in 2015. Shortly after, in 2017, there are multiple examples of Mr. Soderlund
I didn't
pushing for
even
AI
know
usage
that.
at EA, including the foundation of SEED, or the Search for Extraordinary Experiences division.
That was in
It even comes with this overly self-absorbed trailer
2016?
for what amounts as a job posting. Soderlund was all in on AI right off the rip, as he really truly believed it would help with making games easier, cheaper, and better. He saw it as a tool and not as a creative
I
crutch,
literally
as it
didn't
is
even
now.
know
And
this.
for the most part, I believe him. I don't think any of us could have expected the problems and shark economical and ecological droughts it would have caused. For all intents and purposes, I believe that this was something he really believed would make game making easier, especially as the cost of games was becoming a larger and larger issue. There's actually a really good interview with him and the outlet TopBots, where it says, AI is the strongest driver of technical innovation in the gaming industry and in the larger field of software development. Soderlund, who oversees many of the gaming behemoth's popular releases, such as Battlefield and Need for Speed, describes an ideal scenario where AI-powered characters in games make independent decisions and anticipate what a human player will do based on their playing patterns. To Soderlund, this requires AI to not only be smart, but also emotionally intelligent. In most games, the players can find ways to cheat AI or figure out a way to work around the AI. But with a self-learning and adaptive AI that actually understands what you're doing, then you'll have a real artificial intelligence, not one that is merely scripted to deal with certain events. See, when you talk like this, it sounds like genuine uses for this kind of system to make a game better, not ripping off some kind of new Chun-Li pornography. Now, obviously, this was in 2017, and it paints an almost gleeful naivete on the whole thing. Like, this was a real effort to look into the usage of AI for the things that we know AI to be used for. Soderlund's interest in this AI development has, however, not stopped there. When he left EA and founded Embark Studios, they were invested heavily in by Nexon. Now, Nexon has been working hard on the world of AI also in 2017, so the two were perfect fits for each other. And they initially acquired 66.1% of Embark and upped Nexon's stake in it to 72.8% in 2019. Soderlund can also be seen talking up various AI software companies, and he still does to this day. 2 years ago, he shared information on a now defunct machine learning software, and recently this year mentioned an investment in the AI company that aims to assist in forest management, which I imagine they'll need a lot of soon. The other major player I mentioned before was Magnus Nordin, the head of research for Embark. Magnus is a bit less front-facing than Patrick, but he plays a foundational role in a lot of Arc Raiders AI-related development. He doesn't speak much outside of a few tweets, and most of those are discussions on machine learning and a bunch of random Mid-Journey posts back in 2022. But what's more interesting is that
he
was
really
the
went
head
for it
of
on this
SEED,
one. Man,
that
Bricky, you're
EA
so smart.
organization before for about 2 years. But what Magnus is really interested in is the machine learning aspect of AI. Now, if you'll recall, machine learning is similar to the
that a
AI we
fucking
discussed
Stargate?
before, just not generative in the sloppy art way. They still have the neurons and the input-output, but this is related to allowing something to complete a task and learn through it. Maybe you've seen those videos of a robot or something falling over a ton before going across the finish line or something like that. That is an example of machine learning. Adaptivity without programming. This is important because something that Embark champions a ton. They post a lot on the Medium website, and a lot of their things revolve around machine learning trials, procedural tools, automated photogrammetry, etc. On Steam, there is a required disclosure to state if you utilize AI in your video games, and while it's mainly there to piss Mr. Fortnite off, it does allow the consumer to make informed purchases on that part of the concepts. Now, the disclaimer for Arc Raiders states, during the development process, we may use procedural and AI-based tools to assist with content creation. In all such cases, the final product reflects the creativity and expression of our own development team. It's a very roundabout way of stating that the game uses AI, but they aren't really going to tell you exactly what it is. Embark is a bit smug sometimes in how they discuss this stuff, because on Steam there is a disclosure about AI generated works. But if we were discussing machine learning, it would not be classified as generative, instead as learned. Now, there is no defining statement on voice, visuals, animations. It's just kind of, yeah, we used it, but this is our vision. So it does beg the question, what AI related things are actually confirmed to be in arc raiders? Firstly, it's machine learning. This is most seen in the movement of the arcs. Have you ever noticed how the leaper does kind of move like one of those animations I mentioned earlier? Or how impressive it is to watch a wasp lose a prop and restabilize itself? That is all based on the machine learning they have used for the game. Arc
that's
movement
fine.
in general, purely a machine learning thing, and it has made them look very interesting as they go about. The second one is the aforementioned voice lines, specifically the raiders, so that they can point out various different objects and items and be able to do so quickly, so that when the game updates with new items and enemies, it doesn't require rehiring.
Wasp, the ruined homestead. A rocketeer, down there.
Oh, sorry. Am I paying too close attention to Bricky's video?
Now,
Sorry.
You've come this far, so you get to enter the worst segment of the video, the Bricky opinion. I don't want to tell you how to think. I want to inform. But how I inform will carry bias. So I feel it's important to get my bias out of the way. I consider AI to be a tool in many circumstances that has fine usage, and my major issue is generative AI and its effect on art, culture, and planet. I do not enjoy the thefts of creative works without the permission of the original user unless under fair use, which I also do not consider to be the case in this sense. I myself made the mistake of using too much fan art in videos many years ago and have since tried to only use official accredited or
Can we just talk about how much more attractive Bricky is now than he used to be? Like, he's doing that man thing where he's getting way hotter as he's getting older. Like, way hotter.
cited works. The current generative models do not ask nor consider doing so.
Yeah, I mentioned how attractive
personally
men are. It's
have a
respectful.
difficult gray area as well. Generative artwork is being utilized a lot.
Boys
in
like compliments
pre-production for
too.
games now. Very often a mood board, a style guide, or something like that will be put together using generative assets to get a feel on the game's direction. These are often replaced by a real artist after the fact. It's just to help get a baseline on what the game wants to look like. You're basically skipping the step where you gather a bunch of images, bunch of various other games and concept arts, and shove it all together, and instead you're using a prompt for it. Now, I don't love this, but so long as it isn't going in the final product, and these assets are replaced with real artwork, it doesn't cross my personal line. Of note, Expedition 33 is a game I absolutely love, and they had generative works found on a poster in the town of Lumiere. Their response was a pretty basic, shit, I guess we missed one, and they replaced it with actual artwork almost immediately after it was found. Despite not loving its usage, even as a placeholder, I am willing to give E33 a lot of credit because the game was clearly made with loving human hands, and I am more inclined to believe that it was just a missed placeholder asset from very early production instead of something genuinely nefarious. As for other works of non-generative AI, such as machine learning, I'm fine with it. If it is a tool that assists you with your finances better or allows you to organize a workload, power to you. There is an ecological cost that needs to be sorted, but from a moral standpoint, it doesn't cross my line. That is what I consider the point of a tool like this. Make work better so you can do more art, not replace art and turn it into work. That is the end of the Bricky opinion. So when it comes to the machine learning part of Arc Raiders, I've got no issues with it. I think it did a great job, and the game engineers that used it ended up with a superior product. The enemies look great when they're damaged, they move well, and they feel realistic for what they look like. With the information I have been provided, and I see, the usage of AI machine learning has created a more impressive product and not off the backs of other works. Yippee! But how about the voice acting? Well, that's a tricky one. Do I think the voice acting is good? No, I do not. I think it has the uncanny sound that comes from all AI voice acting. I also think the finals announcers don't sound good either. Now, the Raiders are mostly passable, but the traders also sound off. The thing is that I don't have 100% confirmation that the traders are AI voiced. I do for the Raiders, but it's just tough because the Raiders sound like they are. I imagine real voice acting must be used somewhere, but they just sound so incredibly off, and it's also in line with what Embark does. So while I don't have confirmation that the traders are used for AI generation instead of just the Raiders, it feels as if they
I
are.
don't
But at the
like-
end of the day, the thing is that there are a
I really don't like how this discussion is more complicated than I want it to be. That's kind of where I'm coming from right now. I actually really want the discussion to be really easy and simple.
lot of games that utilize consistent VA work through their seasons and their updates, like Helldivers, Apex, Marvel Rivals, and they all find a way to do it and make it sound good even with a large amount of updates. Now, sure, there are hiccups. I'm sure working with the SAG union is not very fun, and the contractual negotiating probably takes a very long time sometimes, but it still does make for good sounding voices. It feels unfortunate that a game like this can be so good in every single avenue, and this one single spot could have just been so much better. Embark Studios has been very adamant that the voice acting here and in the finals is not generative. Rather, they use a text-to-speech system. To quote a PC Games article, it's the same as the finals. We use that text-to-speech model. That is, we hire and contract voice actors for it. It's part of their contract that we use its AI for this purpose. And that allows us to do things like our ping system, where it's capable of saying every single item name, every single location name, and compass directions. That's how we can get that without needing to have someone come in every time we create a new item for the game. Now, this creates a bit of an odd fork in the road on what the definition of generative content is, because it is not using the voice lines of people non-consenting, which is my main issue with it. These are consenting paid VAs, paid far less most likely, but consenting. However, one would still technically call it generative, as you are generating voice lines with the works provided to you via contract.
Oh.
Now, that's a bit of a semantical argument.
Thanks,
but what is far more
Marcellus.
interesting
Maybe
is
I'll
the
reach out.
program used for this is from a company called 11 Labs. Now, back in 2023, Embark
Wow,
was
he did
signed
a lot
as
of
an
work on
investor
this.
slash partner to the company. Same year as the launch of the finals. 11 Labs is under quite a lot of fire for a number of reasons. Their main shtick is creating AI voice lines based on text-to-speech prompts. They even brag about it by working with Epic on their front page of their website, as well as various other actors and
Tell
podcasters.
us,
They
come
were also
on.
sued by 2 voice actors, 2 authors, and a publisher for unauthorized use of their works and voices on their platform. A case that has appeared to have been dismissed, and their voices have vanished from the platform entirely. You ever hear this shitty voice on TikTok before?
Trallallero trallallà, porco Dio e porco Allah.
Oh, yeah, I know that
Ero
guy.
con il mio fottuto figlio merdardo a giocare a Fortnite quando a un
I know
punto
that guy.
arriva mia nonna. Ornella lecca cappella.
That was one of the ones originally there. That was then sued for and removed. 11 Labs are also synonymous with the concept of a grief bot, which is a depressingly existential situation where someone's loved one or family member or, God forbid, child dies, and they use this platform to generate their voice so they can hear them talk to them again. 11 Labs is at the forefront of dead people being generated again by grieving family and thus massively ruining their mental health and the grieving process. One might say it is unfair to blame them for this. A tool cannot be blamed for being used in a malicious or self-destructive way. But 11 Labs also have a really fascinating habit of buying dead actors' voices from their estate to be used in audiobook readings. James Dean, Burt Reynolds, Judy Garland, Sir Lawrence Olivier, I don't remember how to pronounce that one, to name a few. Actually, in fact, to name the ones they literally advertise. These were technically purchased legally by the estate that represents them. But if the defense is, well, it isn't illegal, I don't think that absolves the moral wrongdoing of buying dead people for your AI voice machine. It's exciting to see our mother's voice available to the countless millions of people who love her. Through the spectacular new technology offered by 11 Labs, our family believes that this will bring new fans to Mama and be exciting to those who already cherish the unparalleled legacy that Mama gave and continues
Why are
to
these
give to
people
the
so
world,
nuts?
said Liza Minnelli, daughter of Judy Garland and representative of the Garland estate. Now, they also
She
do voice
sold her mom's
modulation, which I
voice?
actually consider kind of cool tech. If If you ever noticed a lot of feminine sounding voices in Arc Raiders, that's because you can actually modulate yourself to hide your voice. Probably a lot of dudes sounding like girls and girls sounding like dudes. It helps kind of harassment a bit, and it's also just, I don't know, kind of neat. That gets a thumbs up. The TTS though, that's a thumbs down. I appreciate that it's contracted and consenting, of course, but it not only sounds mediocre, but also removes any ability for some genuine character in the raiders and the characters. All the traders feel massively uninteresting except for Lance, the cool robot medic, and even he I just can't get over the voice. I just can't get over it. It's just sad that we can never get the same level of character that the 4 base Helldivers can have, you know? They're just a bunch of grunts and they're faceless, but they ooze personality. You just can't have that with a bunch of TTS navigation pings, whether they want to or not. Plus, I think it sets a really bad precedent, of course. You know, the more commonplace this kind of work becomes, the less actual opportunities are available. This is why it's difficult for me to determine how I feel about Arc Raiders when it comes to this stuff. The game is fantastic, genuinely, top to bottom, a marvel, and I really like playing it a lot. The machine learning stuff, I think, is a fine use of AI, and it has improved the game. The TTS stuff, I think, is the opposite. It's mediocre and just unneeded, and I don't like the company it comes from. Now, the story as a whole ends there, and therefore I consider it to be a slash against the game, but not enough of a slash to make me feel morally against playing it. Everyone has a line. Everyone has a goalpost, and you need to fight your own battles because there's only so much fighting you can do. This level of AI work in Arc Raiders might be too much for you, and honestly, that's fine. But don't self-aggrandize and act like now I have to follow suit. If we're gonna play the game of, oh, you support evil thing, then it's gonna get real awkward when we start talking about where all the shit you buy comes from. This game does not cross my threshold the same way you get a ticket for going 85 on the freeway and you go to jail for going 130. But even with all of that, I can't shake the feeling that this isn't all that's done. A lot of research went into this video, and for the most part, Embark seem on the up and up. The team is big, and they're backed by a very wealthy company and founded by a very wealthy man. But if you're biting the forbidden fruit, you normally don't just take one bite. One thing I keep looking at are the skins and the greeble. The greeble used on them just doesn't make sense. Tubes going into random places, items that serve no purpose. Like someone asked a prompt to make skin designs of various things. Arc Raiders, but spaceman, fighter pilot, cowboy, diver, beekeeper, and then they were given to a real human artist to make them more legible. See, a good version of this would be what Titanfall 2 does, 1,000 praises upon their name. That's greeble. That makes sense. Then again, it isn't something that crossed my line because a real person took that idea and made something of it. But I just struggle believing this is all it is. When you go this hard into AI from the very beginning, almost a decade ago, are you really not using every aspect of it, or does your experience with it make you really good at hiding it? There's an incredibly kind comment I received a few weeks back when I was playing this game, and it made this pit in my stomach when I was writing this video. I haven't heard anything bad about Embark. Their studio looks gorgeous. The games they make are good. They also have had zero large public layoffs whatsoever in the worst time ever to be a game developer. This could be because they're Swedish as opposed to an American studio.
I've had this
I don't know,
exact thing.
but it's exhausting. There's so much to consider between the environmental impact of the AI bubble, to the economy effects, to the moral implications, to the ethical uses of AI, to the job security of Embark, and it's so goddamn difficult to consider it all at one time. And then I need to explain that despite all my personal issues with this, it doesn't cross my goalpost, which will piss people off on both sides of said post regardless. It's just exhausting because it's a really good game. Hell, I did a stream of it playing as Alan from Smiling Friends. Don't ask why.
Good, I'm trying to get to the medical.
I see. I see. Are you a member of the local opera?
No, I'm God.
Oh,
I'm from heaven.
that's good to hear. I'm Alan from Smiling Friends.
The amount of jokes and memes and character interactions are just so damn high with a game like this. I also know games are too expensive to make nowadays, and there needs to be a way to do it easier. I don't think this is it, but I can't say that I'm surprised. I feel like this all started with really good intentions. I don't think anyone in 2016 could have expected what AI has become now and what it means now, and it feels so tiring trying to have a nuanced take on all of it. I really do believe that Embark was started with the intentions to use new tech to make games cheaper, safer, and faster, to maintain job security for their employees, and to push the medium of the industry. But I think maybe the tool they banked on to do that job has mutated out of their control, and now they're stuck with a cursed object that is only sometimes placated. Or maybe I'm extremely naive and too forgiving. I don't know. At the end of the day, this video is to review, inform, and discuss. I want to tell you my thoughts on the game, explain the issues I have with it, and explain AI and its involvement in the title and the process. And I hope I did well enough. The next few years are going to be really tricky. I don't know how much AI we have in us before it all goes boom, but either way, I'm not so sure it's going to feel too good. On the end of it all, it's a great game, a phenomenal game. I don't know how much is being hidden. I don't know how honest they are with what they are using.
Reels,
and I don't really know
I'm
how
literally
their
going to
feelings
talk
on
to
the matter
Bricky
has
on
changed.
Discord
But
like as soon
for
as the stream
time
is
being,
over. You don't have to
Arc
pass
Raiders
it
is
on.
very good. It's very, very good. I don't like all of it, but there are parts of it that are just too impressive to not note. Machine learning stuff is great. The generative text-to-speech stuff is not. And here we are. Do I think you should play it? If this doesn't cross your line, go ahead. It's very good. It's very, very good. If it does, then don't. Everyone has their own battles. Everyone has their own activism. And eventually, activism fatigue is a real thing. So pick what you think is
I'm
best.
feeling pretty fatigued.
I don't know. Just go for it. Thanks for watching. It's very hot in this. I'll see you again this year. Buy Natura Pine. Code Bricky.
Bricky, you do good. You do good toothpicks. So that's a fantastic video that like actually was incredibly informative and didn't help the way that I feel even a little bit. I'm probably going to talk to Bricky afterwards. I got to be honest. I feel like I missed out. I feel like I missed out as a stream person because like everybody I would talk to would be like, oh man, I've been playing a bunch of Arc Raiders. And I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't. Right? That's not FOMO, like professional FOMO. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, it's a dog. Me, me, me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Hey, bud. I will say one thing. I think addicting to children to gambling is definitely just as bad, if not worse. No, I think addicting children to gambling is worse. Caboose. I don't think it's a competition. Yeah, it's always a competition. Crunch, son, or AI daughter. Oh my God. No, we're not doing that. Caboose, you want to squish? I love him. I taught my son to hug and kiss Caboose, and I like get this. If I'm trying to like put something together and the little man's just getting all up in my shit, you know what I do? I go, hey buddy, can you go boop Caboose? And he'll like run away all the way to find Caboose and boop him and then come back. And I'll be like, can you boop Catmo? And I just do that. He boops him. It's really good. By the way, Jigo Kuro kicked us up. You should see if Bricky wouldn't mind talking on stream. I'd love to hear your thoughts, sort your thoughts out with him. Yeah, why not? I'll talk to him. Nobbin kicked in us up, says Pat and Brick, my two favorite nerds. That's me and Brick. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow, probably with Lisa, and maybe I'll try and get Bricky on, or vice versa, and have a discussion about this. You know, it's interesting because I think that there's a completely different argument that is like somewhat similar. I saw somebody mention that 3D printing is the reason why Total War 40K is coming, because the monopoly on plastic dolls is over. Like that they see it coming and they need to just transition into the franchise everywhere. You know? All right, well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for being kind to me today. Had a good fun playing, watching the indie thing. We'll see you tomorrow for Lisa. Okay, bye-bye.